So before we get stuck into this video, guys, I'm aiming for 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you do enjoy the content and you haven't subscribed, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and I would love you forever. But let's talk about some good stuff about overall shit stuff. So in today's video, I'm going to be looking at some episodes of Doctor Who that aren't necessarily the highest regarded and are usually towards the bottom of lists. Or at least in my opinion, they're quite low down on those lists. But I'm going to be looking at certain scenes within those stories that actually aren't half bad and could be argued are pretty good or even great. As always, this is just my opinion, so if you happen to disagree that it was a good moment or that it's a bad story, absolutely fine. This is just from my perspective though. So first and foremost, I'm going to get the most controversial one out of the way first, and as you are probably aware if you watch my channel and you have seen various videos of me talking about this specific story, you will know I really do not like the Cursive Paladin for various different reasons, but overall I just think it's a boring story. I did go into a little bit more detail about it in my top 3 worst of the Third Doctor, so I'm not going to go into too much detail as to why I dislike it, because I know that it is generally considered to be quite a popular story, but yeah, I just don't get the hype. However, having said that, one moment in Cursive Paladin that I actually really like is the reveal that the Ice Warriors weren't the bad guys after all. See, that moment for me is quite a unique moment in Doctor Who, because going into that story, you expect the Ice Warriors to be bad, and the story kind of plays it like you know that the Ice Warriors are bad, the Doctor knows that the Ice Warriors are bad, it's just a simple case of everyone trying to play catch up, which is a formula that has been used in Doctor Who a number of times. However, this time, no, the Ice Warriors are actually good, and that moment where you realise, oh, they're not the bad guys, they have changed. I really enjoy that. It really was a pull the rug moment. Not just that, I think it also plays into the Doctor's reaction to it when he realises, because he himself is wrong and is humbled by that and judged these Ice Warriors based on previous experiences and not who they are now. And for me, that's a really cool message to put across as well. It doesn't stop the rest of the story being incredibly boring in my opinion, but that was a nice little twist and a nice little moment in a story that I otherwise find unwatchable. And again, a story that you will know about if you've watched my channel since the very beginning, Hellbent. See, the thing is with Hellbent, what I've sort of come to realise in the last few years or last year or so is the fact that Hellbent, the way that it is done and the way that it is executed is actually pretty good. The problem is what it is doing is totally wrong and I hate it. So yeah, I still don't think this is a good story by any stretch of the imagination, but it's probably not the worst Doctor Who story like I used to say. It's not far off, it's only moved up a couple of places in my mind, but that's neither here nor there. The moment in question though is, I think it's when they're in the catacombs and the Doctor is cornered by the Time Lords when he's with Clara, and it's a really brief moment, but the Doctor and Clara start to have a conversation with one another. Now, you don't actually hear the conversation, you just hear Clara's theme ramp up and then the camera sort of pans from above them and just goes upwards. That moment is a really sweet moment actually, and a really nice moment for the 12th Doctor and for Clara. Like, you as the audience, it's up to your own interpretation about what they were talking about, how it's gonna go, all that sort of stuff. And the fact that they sort of left you with that moment and not sort of told you exactly what was said and how it was said and how the characters feel, I actually think that's a really genuinely nice moment. Thing is, I don't really like the 12th Doctor and Clara's dynamic together. I just don't think it works. I know a lot of people seem to really love them. I just don't. You know what I think of Clara. I mean, I love Capaldi, let's not get that wrong. But this was one of the only times in the series where I genuinely felt a connection and a chemistry between the two of them, and even though it is literally a 30-second max moment, it was a real standout in a positive way. So sticking with the new series, I'm going to talk about Gridlock. Again, this is a story that I think the overall consensus is it's fine, but this story I really don't enjoy. But I do like the death of the face of Bo. When you think about this moment now, you have the context of the reveal later on of who the face of Bo is. But at the time, you hadn't really seen much of this character, but you feel how the Doctor feels when there's this other old wise being in the universe, and it's someone that he feels he can connect to, and watching that character die was a real hard hitter for the Doctor, I think. Not just that though, it does set up a mystery for the rest of the series with the "you are not alone," and again at the time that was huge. With hindsight, I think this moment is a bit more bittersweet because we know that it's Captain Jack, and obviously at the time you weren't to know that you're watching Captain Jack die when he hadn't even returned in the series yet. But overall, I do think it is a well-directed moment, a well-acted moment, and a really bittersweet moment in an otherwise really forgettable story. So when we're talking about bad stories, you have to mention something out of season 24 because it's a crap season of Doctor Who. Quite possibly the worst season of classic Doctor Who. Possibly even all of Doctor Who. If you can't tell already, I'm not a big fan of season 24. However, Time and the Ronnie, whilst probably the worst story in the series, let's have it right, it does have a couple of moments that I really enjoy. Now, this mostly includes early stuff where the Doctor's still going through the post-traumatic stuff of the regeneration, but the moment I want to pick out in particular is where he's picking his outfit. I always find it fascinating watching a Doctor pick their outfit, because it's almost like you're seeing that character come together properly for the first time, and when they finally put the gear on, they are the Doctor. But with McCoy, I really like that they play up his impish side, which I know they tend to do a lot in season 24, but I love the fact that he's going through his predecessor's wardrobe and he's doing it in front of the Ronnie, who is disguised as Mel, but he's still confused, so he doesn't even know. And in fact, some of the outfits that he's wearing, like Pertwee's jacket and even Tom's outfit, I actually think McCoy suits pretty well. But then of course you get the reveal where he pulls off the coat and then he's in the 7th Doctor outfit. I really like it. It's not a groundbreaking moment, but it is a significant moment for Sylvester McCoy's Doctor, and it is a quite sweet, well, no, not really sweet, but enjoyable, fun, quirky moment in an otherwise fucking embarrassingly bad story. Okay, so the last one for this episode, because I have a feeling I can make a series out of this, I'm gonna go with The Invasion of Time, and I will add a caveat or an asterisk to this. I actually do really like The Invasion of Time. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I think it is a guilty pleasure story in my opinion, but I am well aware that overall this is not a highly regarded story, and I do agree with a lot of the criticism aimed at The Invasion of Time. I think the stuff with the Vardens, well, I think the Vardens themselves are pathetic. I think Leela's exit is terrible, and whilst it does have some good ideas, I don't think overall the execution is there. But having said that, and I'm gonna die on this hill, right? I'm not sarcastic or anything ironic or whatever when I say this next thing. Part 4, with the reveal of the Sontarans, is probably one of the best cliffhangers in Doctor Who's history. Probably top 5 minimum. Bold statement, I am aware, but I am going to stick by it because I genuinely believe that. That moment where you've gone through this whole story with the Vardens, as crap as they were, you still go through that. The Doctor had this big, overly complicated plan to get rid of them. He saves Gallifrey. Everybody thinks, okay, cool, that's what he was doing then. So, day saved, here we go. Oh, Sontarans there now. Now, even though I feel like the Sontarans, eventually you realise that they're not the best Sontarans we've ever seen, but that moment where there is almost that respite of, whew, okay, I've done it, I've saved the day. I forgot to close the induction barrier again, didn't I? I think it's with the music as well and the build-up where the Doctor's the last person to realise what's actually going on because he's there doing his big heroic speech where he's like, oh, at last the safety of Gallifrey is assured. What's everyone staring at then? I think it's that moment where you just see all the Time Lords and like Leela and everyone just, their mouths just slowly drop when they realise, shit, there's an army here now. And yeah, like I say, the music is some of my favourite actually. It's such a perfect cliffhanger in every single way. But like I say, I do love this story. So even though I put it in the bad story, good moment thing, I do like it, but I understand it is incredibly flawed. In the comments below though, guys, let me know what you think. Do you agree with some of my choices? You probably won't, let's be honest, no one ever does. But what other great moments or good moments in bad stories are some of your favourite? Let me know. I'm obviously probably going to do the flip side of this as well, so talking about bad moments in really good episodes. This of course was a Patreon suggested video as well, so thank you very much for your suggestion, and if you also want to suggest video ideas to me, make sure you head over to the Patreon where I also do reviews of individual Doctor Who stories and a few other little different bits and pieces as well. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe for more, social media and the Patreon link will be in the description as always. So if you do any of those things, I'd absolutely love you forever. But until next time guys, you take care of yourselves, goodbye.